The Dallas Cowboys just had a big injury. Dak Prescott set to at least miss a few weeks. And yes, for those Giants franchise lovers, my main series on the channel this year, not today, going to be tomorrow. We got the next episode following the big offseason. I got a lot to say about that, but that's going to wait until tomorrow because today we are rebuilding the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the good thing about these rebuilds is that a Dak Prescott injury actually doesn't really affect us that much because, one, this isn't just a one-season thing. It's going to be over a few seasons. And a good thing about the Cowboys is it's not really going to be so much of a rebuild. In Madden, they are very, very good. I'm not going to say for any particular reason, but I will note, completely unrelated, that there is an EA huge Cowboys fan who is in charge of a lot of the ratings and stuff. So, not saying, just saying. It's maybe why Zeke still has Superstar Dev and CeeDee Lamb has Superstar Dev and Dak has Superstar X Factor. Obviously wouldn't complain about it for Zach Martin or Tyron Smith, who is pretty unbelievable when healthy. On defense, though, there are some real holes. Like DeMarcus Lawrence is quite good. Micah Parsons is obviously now one of the most exciting young players in the league. And all it took was the Cowboys moving him down from off-ball linebacker to basically be a full-time edge player, and he's been incredible. The funny part for this, for me as a Giants fan, though, is I know if he was drafted by the Giants, they'd be playing him, I guess, who can say with Brian Daboll now, but I know they'd be playing him at off-ball linebacker, where he just isn't the same dynamic game wrecker that he is on the edge. So things might change quite a bit, but I don't mind starting right outside linebacker and then rush end, which is how this surely should be set up, and it is. Anthony Barr's got to go. Leighton Vander Esch, I really have no attachment to, but he's decent enough in-game where maybe he'll earn another contract from me. I think he's on a 1 year in real life, so we're going to have to address that sooner rather than later. But the defensive line's got to change, too. Dante Fowler Jr., Osa Odigizua, Tristan Hill, Neville Gallimore. We got to be able to do better. DeMarcus Lawrence is quite good. The only problem is he's getting a little bit older at 30 now and at 89 overall. Probably going to be only downhill with him, but I'll probably keep him around. Corners got to get better. Safety's got to get better. Linebackers got to get better. I do like Jabril Cox, though, but we'll see what happens. Should we even talk about Trayvon Diggs? I don't really even know what to say. It's like he is maybe a little overhated while being overrated by Cowboys fans. Like, he's definitely not the worst corner in football despite giving up the most amount of yards last year. And there is something to be said for his tremendous ball skills to being able to intercept any pass that comes his way. So it's a big, like, boom or bust mentality at times. I don't think he's terrible. What we have to remember is he's only going to be going into his third year now, and he does have this unbelievable skill, but it's also worth recognizing that his cover ability is just not there yet, and that's why 77-man is incredibly low for a superstar dev corner at 84 overall. You'd expect it to be significantly higher, but that's just not his game. But he is great at reading the quarterback's eyes. It will get killed by double moves, but also if you throw it underneath, there's a really good chance he's going to get hands on the ball, and if he gets hands on the ball, he's probably going to pick it off. He's definitely valuable, but I think my main focus on defense is to be like getting him protection with a true CB1 on the other side. Whether that's through the draft, whether that's through free agency, remains to be seen. And I am actually going to try and trade Donovan Wilson. He's still at like a pretty good age for trades, 27 years old. A little bit too old for me to want to keep him and not really high enough overall. I really don't even want Malik Hooker anyway, either. So we'll probably look to upgrade safety at some point. Donovan Wilson only seems to be getting yellow interest, so I'll probably try to trade him to a team that I expect to be pretty bad. Like the Lions, I think would make a lot of sense. Probably won't be able to get a first-round pick, but I don't want one for Donovan Wilson. That'd be a little bit too crazy, so we'll try to do Donovan Wilson, and I would trade Anthony Barr. I would do that very easily, and that trade is accepted. Sure, we probably could have got a first-round pick with, I mean, maybe even just Donovan Wilson and Anthony Barr. I would have been able to add a pick as well, and certainly got it done. But as much as I don't want to be like super hyper realistic, I don't want to go too far in the realm of impossibility. And I think it's already, a little bit wild to get Anthony Barr and Donovan Wilson in exchange for a second round pick or vice versa. So we're going to stop at that. I think I like the rest of the team. Probably will compete for a Super Bowl here in year one. And, Damone Clark is another player I like. I didn't really get to talk about him too much. The Cowboys have done something that I really, really like, which is, I don't know, just take chances on high upside players, because even if you miss on like 90% of them, like, you're going to miss on draft picks anyway, especially down the board. So if you can take one with like first round upside, like Damone Clark from LSU, was a monster at LSU. Big injury concern is why he dropped, by the way. And kind of a similar thing going on with one of my favorite players in the draft, really, in terms of ability, and that's Sam Williams. I thought was one of the best pass rushers in the draft, period. I thought he was incredible. The reason he dropped was off the field concerns. I don't know like how true any allegation is. Seems like he's fine now. He's playing in the NFL. Don't know much beyond that, but I'll tell you, I really, really, really like the player when I watched him at Ole Miss. You guys probably know, or maybe you don't actually, but I've been getting pretty big into scouting and really learning the game more over the past like decade, and thankfully, and you guys have helped me out with this. I'm to a point where it's not actually that difficult for me to track down all 22 with some of my connections, and it's just a really fun hobby of mine, and I make the draft videos, as you guys may or may not know as well. Of course, I'll be doing that for the 2023 draft as well. But Sam Williams was somebody I like quite a bit, and I think I'm probably going to end up starting him. But I think I've kind of talked enough about the roster. I mean, there's always more things I could say. Jalen Tolbert could have a bright future with the team. I'd probably prefer to play him over Noah Brown and James Washington. And then you got a really fun player in Kevontae Turpin that is an electric return man, of course. Kind of, I would say, got a lot of his notoriety outside of the NFL, obviously, and then got a chance after going undrafted out of TCU. So it's good to see him in the league. I don't like the Cowboys. I think that's pretty plain obvious, but obviously doing a Cowboys rebuild, I want this team to do well in the video. I can go ahead and put my Giants fandom to the side for a minute and try to put this team in the best position possible. They're always really, really good in simulation. But let's go ahead and simulate to the midseason mark, reevaluate the team around week 8 or so. Could potentially make a trade. Let's say I don't really want to re-sign Leighton Vander Esch, or he declines my offer. Guess what? Trade deadline, I can trade him. Somewhat unsurprisingly, also, I don't know how we have a breakout quarterback challenge. Dak has superstar X Factor. Is this just for XP? I guess throw 1 or fewer interceptions and have 400 scrimmage yards or 4 total touchdowns with quarterback Dak Prescott for a significant XP gain. Well, I'm going to change the playbook for that to happen just for this 1 week. I know we're doing really well, 6-1. I just find it unlikely that Dak would produce so much in this particular playbook. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to go see the last game and maybe make a decision based off that. I mean, we're scoring a lot. Maybe I don't even change it. 42 points. I just worry that Zeke is scoring a lot of those touchdowns. Cooper Rush threw a touchdown. I mean, Dak at 200 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick. And that's when we scored 42 points in a game. Here scored 42 again. And Dak did have 4 touchdowns, 300 yards passing. I would just feel a lot more comfortable, I think, in like Tampa Bay playbook, where we know he's going to throw the ball a lot. And what's nice as well is the Bucs and the Cowboys both have the same offensive scheme, which is vertical zone run, which I think is probably really good for simulation. And all I have to do is change it to Tampa Bay playbook. And against the Bears, I think we should be able to score quite a few points. And I think Dak should be able to move up to, or not, he's superstar X Factor, but should be able to move up with overall with more XP. So I'm going to choose my scouting national focus and then hopefully get Dak some huge XP. Before we do that, though, I am going to check out some of these expiring contracts. Absolutely want Dalton Schultz back. I don't really think I talked about him too much, but definitely a top 10 tight end in the NFL. He's really solid. Let's see what he's rated at this point. Let's see if he is a top 10. Number 13. I think he's probably more around that top 10 range. I think Dalton Schultz is actually quite good. Tony Pollard doesn't want to come back. Leighton Vander Esch does. Anthony Brown does, but I don't really want him or James Washington or Dante Fowler Jr. or Tristan Hill. I mean, Tristan Hill maybe just because he's still super young. Terrence Steele's in a weird spot. I wouldn't be super interested in him, but we could do worse. Also, Tristan Hill wants way too much money. Dude, do you know what you're Tristan Hill? I'm not going to pay you $6 million per year. You're going to be gone. Leighton Vander Esch, this isn't really a super bad contract. I'd like to save a little bit of money on it if I can, but he wants more than that. It's going to be 27, star dev, probably an 82 overall. Maybe he gets up to an 85. It's not bad. It's just not great. Tony Pollard probably isn't worth holding on to. In real life, I think he's actually very good as a 1-2 punch with Zeke. However, that doesn't really play a huge impact in Madden franchise, so I'll probably avoid that. I do want to bring back Dalton Schultz, though, just because he's, quite a good player for this Cowboys team. Again, I would like to save some money, but he wants a lot more. Dude, I feel like they want too much money. Am I being crazy with that? So we won 35-14. Let's see what Dak did. I'll probably end up moving back to Dallas playbook. 446 offensive yards gained. Dak had only 303 of those, which is still a great game. But when Cooper Rush keeps throwing touchdowns, how are you doing this? How does Cooper Rush keep throwing touchdowns? Is he in on fakes? 2 completions. Is he just running fake field goal? How is he in? Zeke had 2 touchdowns too. So Dak's probably going to end up failing this. I'd say probably, but we'd have to get lucky with like the system screwing up, or maybe I didn't understand it properly. But I think he's going to not get the XP despite a big time win, and that's okay. That's okay. We won. No dev upgrade. All right, dude. He's still a superstar X Factor. All right, so I'll up Dalton Schultz a little bit here. He still wants more money. This would be my offer to Leighton Vander Esch. It's not too bad. I think he should accept this. And Leighton Vander Esch comes to his senses. Dalton Schultz still being a little bit difficult. I really don't think I'm lowballing him, despite him declining both times. His re-sign interest is all the way, which means I should be able to give him, less money and have him still be interested. But it unfortunately has not worked out that way so far. I think this would be about my best offer for Dalton Schultz. It's a decent salary. It's a pretty big bonus. I would go this high. Actually, what is the high risk here? Kind of where I've been. Medium risk is a little bit more than I've been offering. I think 5-5 is fair. He wants to play for a new team. I'll franchise tag you. Why is he declining that with max interest? I just really don't get that. Especially when I basically offered him the medium risk, which shouldn't be medium risk, because he has max interest. I don't know. We're 7-1. We'll worry about that in the offseason, and we'll head to the playoffs. Finished up at 12-5. The second half of the season is usually not quite as good, but Dak had an incredible season. Led the NFL in touchdowns, did throw 16 picks, but over 5,000 yards. Very good season from Dak Prescott, and the same can be said for Zeke. About 1,400 yards, 4.5 per carry, 16 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb put up true wide receiver 1 numbers, over 100 catches, 1,400 yards, and 14 touchdowns. I thought Michael Gallup was quite good, as was Dalton Schultz and Jalen Tolbert. It's very rare to see a playbook where 4 receivers are as involved as this. Not like James Washington is getting a ton of action, but I feel like that's pretty good. Defensively, Leighton Vander Esch led our team in tackles by a wide margin. DeMarcus Lawrence had 15 for loss, 13.5 sacks as well. Neville Gallimore was incredibly productive. Micah Parsons had 12 sacks. I think there's a world where I just move him down to defensive end. I think that could absolutely happen. I don't know, because we want to utilize him where he's going to be the most disruptive, and it's fun to play him in this hybrid position, right? But, allowed 17 catches. Can't see the yardage, unfortunately. But allowed 17 catches, had only 12 sacks, which is good, but we know he could be in like the 20s, which sounds crazy, but in Madden it's possible. Sam Williams really didn't do a whole lot, had a TFL in there. Interceptions, LVE with 5. Trayvon Diggs back down to 3, which I think we'd all be pretty surprised if he only had 3 based off of his ball production in Season 2. 3 is like not a small amount for a corner, and maybe they would target him less. But yeah, Madden just doesn't really have a good way of getting that many interceptions in simulation. All right, we're going to do, let's see here. How do we play this? How important is your first playoff win? Guaranteeing a win, I don't like the idea of, but we're going to play it cool. All right, beat the Vikings for staff points reward, no risk, no reward. I just don't trust giving the Vikings any type of advantage. Like, if you guys have seen these rebuilds so far this year, you know we're always at a disadvantage. Like, I think there's a high percentage. We might lose like 70% of round 1 playoff games in simulation. It doesn't matter what the overall difference is. We just lose a lot. We barely scrape by the Vikings. 3-point victory. And of course, now we have to play their division rival, Green Bay Packers. And it's a big game. Advance to the conference championship with a win. Both similarly rated. They have a better defense. We have a better offense. And we lose by a point, 22-21, and are headed to the offseason early. It's just tough to win in simulation in the playoffs. I don't know what changes, because sometimes teams can be so good in the regular season, and then they just don't show up the same way in the playoffs for whatever reason. Titans end up beating the Packers in the Super Bowl. Christian Fulton was your Super Bowl MVP. Josh Allen won NFL MVP. Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year. Khalil Mack, Defensive Player of the Year. And then Breece Hall and Aiden Hutchinson are your Rookies of the Year. Okay, we do have some player negotiations as well. Dalton Schultz is up to Star Dev, is 27. He's going to get franchise tagged so we can bring him back. As I mentioned before, I'm probably not going to bring anybody else back, and I don't really feel too badly about it. The only one who's like fringe is Terrence Steele, and I think if worse comes to worse, I can just sign him in free agency. So we're going to go ahead and franchise tag Dalton Schultz, 27 years old, 84 overall, being boosted a little bit because of morale here. But yeah, worst comes to worst, we will we'll just sign Terrence Steele in regular free agency. Levante David is in here with significant interest in the Cowboys, as is Mike Gesicki, but I'd like to keep Dalton Schultz long-term, so I'm going to avoid that. But Levante David for a year or two, I like the idea that I just don't know that we have the money to pull it off. Probably we'll have to avoid that. As much as I would like it, I just don't think that's going to be possible. Receiver, Odell's here, big interest, Jarvis Landry. I think I'd rather either keep Jalen Tolbert. I mean, Hardman's not bad. Trying to get some younger guys in there. I think I'd rather just keep Jalen Tolbert, though, at wide receiver 3, or target a receiver in the draft. Tight end, obviously I'm going to avoid that. You know, maybe Mike McGlinchey. He's actually really cheap, all things considered as well. Let's offer Mike McGlinchey a contract. That's a starting right tackle immediately. And we're going head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers. They don't want Elton Jenkins anymore, but they'd prefer Mike McGlinchey. That's interesting. Deron Payne would be nice too. We just don't have the money for it, so kind of have to spend a little bit more sparingly. Linebacker is a need, especially if I want to go and move Micah Parsons down to defensive end, which I'm really definitely considering that. Dre Greenlaw wouldn't be bad. He wants 8.8 per year though. That just probably isn't worth it. Maybe bring Deshaun Elliott back to Texas. Hook 'em horns. Love Deshaun Elliott. He was so good at Texas. Definitely one of my favorite players Texas has had over the past 10 years, for sure. I think bringing him in would be a big upgrade. Do need a kicker as well. I think that Tyler Bass is going to be the one for me here. If we can get him on a little bit cheaper of a deal, I think that'll be enough to get him. And then punter. Do we need a punter? No, we have Brian Anger. I think that's actually just fine. We need so many upgrades with this team, though. The defense is just, it's brutal to look at with all these normal devs. I know it's the start of the rebuild, so it's not going to be polished already, and we're going to try and develop the first-round pick Tyler Smith, who I really didn't talk much about, and Tyler Biadasz at center, of course. But yeah, the defense is just looking really, really ugly. So we need to have a good draft. And hopefully we'll be able to sign some of these players I've targeted. And it's gonna be a coin flip for some of those guys. But we got both of them. Mike McGlinchey and Deshaun Elliott are both in Dallas, or Arlington. I'd like to get a deal on one of these linebackers. I really would. But none of them are really lining up with what I'm looking for. And we could look to upgrade defensive end. I mean, Bryce Huff is not a bad idea. Defensive tackle, nobody really fits what I'm looking for. Bryce Huff, this is not a bad contract. Can I take this down a little bit too? We might be able to get Bryce Huff for essentially nothing. And it's only a 2-year deal. Still could go out and draft somebody. Yeah, let's try and get Bryce Huff here. It's very close. Ooh. Couple really interesting things here. One, Andrew Alexander from Louisville. B-man, A-zone, 6'3", 22 years old, and can run pretty well. Great speed. This has probably got to be the top target, even if I don't like him as a corner, which I do. Seems like we got Trayvon Diggs V2 here, but maybe actually a little bit better in man. He could play safety, for sure. And then Darrell Douglas, 6'6", 240, with looks like a lot of A potential here, and has elite speed. So even though he ran 4.57, right? Elite acceleration, elite jumping. I think that he might have faster speed than what you'd normally associate with 4.57. Oh, this dude is so good. He's gonna have high 80s speed for sure. Maybe even higher than that, but I think high 80s. I'm trying to see if there's any way I can get both of those players. I think it's highly unlikely because I'll have to trade up to even get one of them. This running back looks like he'd be pretty good too, but obviously not even going to consider that. But man, the corner and the tight end look unbelievable. And we do use 2 tight end sets, but it's not going to be quite as important that high. But it's like, okay, Dalton Schultz replacement, which is going to be a real possibility. Okay, Moses Hales is interesting too. Could part the Red Sea if we play Tampa Bay deep into the playoffs. Is that a stretch for a joke? Yeah, pretty bad. A power moves, a pursuit, a tackle. Not the craziest athlete, which is a little bit concerning to me. But technically, he seems pretty sound. I think that could be a starter at 4-3 defensive end for sure. This outside linebacker looks pretty good too. Off ball, great speed. Very good skills. I think we have something with Nick Young. Swaggy P down the board. You guys even know Swaggy P? Probably a lot of you. Trey Elias. B tackle, A finesse moves, like kind of whatever, but I guess that could be pretty good though. B hit power, A zone coverage, block shedding's kind of whatever. I think he looks pretty good, and with elite speed, definitely somebody I want to have on my board. I think this draft class looks pretty good so far. Also, I love the idea of a run stopper with B zone coverage. Tells me he should be pretty well rounded, but I don't really love the solid speed. It's just about average. Poor agility, solid acceleration. It's like, probably not going to be a pick of mine. And then Mike Wesley down the board. Round 1 to 2 true talent, projected to go much later. I could see this being a really good pickup for us in round 2. Middle of round 2, probably wouldn't wait beyond that. And now left outside linebacker is supposed to be like the strength of the class here. I love seeing A finesse moves. You know, I'd love to see a little bit better athleticism, but Casey Mills seems good. Elite acceleration, great speed, elite jumping's cool, great strength as well, I think kind of stands out to me. Casey Mills in round 1 definitely could be good value there. I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting draft. It's one of those ones where I really would love to have more picks. And Tyler Underwood looks good. We could totally revamp our linebacking core here. Still keep a 4-3. Move Micah Parsons down to defensive end. We have options. Timmy Pruitt has potential. Elite speed. Elite change of direction. Great acceleration. I'd like to know more about his finesse moves if he's going to be a speed rusher. That's going to be super important. Power moves is a D. So we know that finesse moves is going to be good. The question is how good, though. Now, this guard has potential, too. Great speed, great strength, elite change of direction with pretty good, or what appears to be pretty good skills. I don't know. Let me know I'd love some feedback on how you guys feel about really looking at the class before the draft instead of just drafting. I don't know. I think it's probably good, but I don't know. I guess I could be wrong, but I'm really not thrilled with what the receiver class looks like. Roman Graves appears to be like some of the best value in the draft to me. Day 3 pick, maybe I would go that direction. But the receivers, by and large, look very, very bad. Don't really even see any deep threats, which is kind of surprising. Like, there are a few of them, but it's a lot of playmakers, like a ton. And then some physicals in there. Yeah, I don't really like the look of this class too much. It looks like we might have some guys that can fly, though. Great speed, ran 4.28. Jerome Osgood's one to keep an eye on. Elite speed, but only ran in the 4.3s, which is still lightning quick, by the way. But there was a receiver that ran in the 4.2s with great speed compared to elite. And I think it's more important to look at what it actually says versus the time. So it's something to keep an eye on. For the life of me, by the way, I cannot find the speed in this class. Can't find it. Okay, see, this guy ran 4.25 at his pro day, and he only has great speed. I'm not looking through all these receivers, dude. There's like half of them are projected to go undrafted. And, I mean, 99 speed is really cool, but it actually doesn't do anything. It doesn't really matter. So I just don't care. All right, here's the guy that ran 4.24. Okay. Dude, also a strong arm quarterback. We're not looking at quarterback, obviously, but elite throw power, which you guys can't see. And he still ran in the low 4.7s. And he has decent accuracy as well. Looks like he's going to be pretty sick. I'm going to go ahead and withdraw my offer on Bryce Huff and just focus on Tyler Bass at this point. And, you know, maybe before I do that, I should look at the kickers in scouting. We do have elite kick power from Jeremy Werntz. Pretty fast, too. What's his kick accuracy, B? All right, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take Jeremy Werntz there and not Tyler Bass. Easier to pay like a 7th-round rookie kicker. So, that's big. Okay, NFL draft time. I might get a little bit aggressive here because we don't pick until 26. And there are 2, I would say, bona fide difference makers at the top of this class. Andrew Alexander is going to be quite good. I used Darrell Douglas as a focus player, and at 90% scouted, we still don't know deep route running and run block. We know the range, A to B, which is very, very good either way. He's going to be so good. This is maybe the best tight end I've ever seen in the draft. And Andrew Alexander is at a position of need. Very good player. I don't know. There's so much talent in this class. I really can't get too crazy about who we take here. Like, I don't know that we can trade all the way up for Alexander or Douglas. As much as I would like to, I just don't think we can. Wow. Okay. Darrell Douglas becomes the first tight end to ever go #1 overall to the Houston Texans. He's really good. And there goes Kelvin Lynch. Now, at #3 overall, I really didn't think the corner would even get to this spot. And he is available, but would the Seahawks choose to go quarterback? They might. Do I gamble it? Well, I wasn't really even planning to trade up anyway. But if the corner gets to #4, maybe I would, and he does. All right, Philly. I'll give you a phone call. They're in division, though, too. Okay. That is okay. They do have 2 first-round picks. We see trades in the division sometimes, or in the same division, like even in the first round. Lions, Vikings this past year. Lions moved all the way up to get Jamison Williams. Vikings moved down, took Lewis Cine. Didn't really pick up a whole ton of value. I think they got Andrew Booth, though, with the other one. So maybe. Is that true? I think it might be. I don't know. It would take a lot to move up. It really would. Would I rather trade a first-round pick next year? But it would have to be even more value than that, because that's not even close to getting it done. I kind of want my mid-round picks, maybe a 4, but that's still not going to be close. And I don't think a player is going to push this over at all. What might be the right move? This is going to seem crazy. Well, this is why this isn't the realistic Cowboys rebuild. I'll be doing that later on in the year. I do every team twice, or try to. I think it might be time to trade DeMarcus Lawrence. Big-time cap hit, 31 years old. We're basically letting our division rival compete more now, even though we still should be better in simulation. And I don't know. Is it the right move? I think it could be. And then, yeah, we'll certainly have to draft linebacker. We'll move Micah Parsons down, and we'll be happy. 2nd-round pick next year. I can always recoup that somehow. And maybe a 3rd this year. I know I'm offering a 4th first, but A third's not going to make it go through either, which is actually pretty disappointing. Okay, this is the trade. It's a peculiar one, but it's the one we're doing. DeMarcus Lawrence, number 26, a first next year as well. We are getting back number 4 from the Eagles and number 27. So we're trading down one spot, and we're trading DeMarcus Lawrence. So it's Lawrence for 4, trading down one spot, and then giving them a first next year. It's a lot to give up. It is, but we're going to value the future here. I understand. I get it. We're going Andrew Alexander. Normal development is disappointing for him. It really is. He's going to be good. Probably be like a 79, 93 speed. I just expected, obviously, at least star development. Didn't get it. Disappointing. Let's simulate to 27. See what's available. We can still make this a really good draft. Like, that player is going to be good. He's probably going to come in and start right away. But we need to hit on our other picks as well. The right guard is intriguing to me because his run blocking should be good. Pass blocking is good. That's definitely in play. Unfortunately, the middle linebacker I liked is off the board. But there are other options. Nick Young and Mike Wesley, maybe with our next 2 picks. I mean, Tyler Underwood also looks like he's pretty good value. He looks exactly like Akil Edmonds in Giants franchise. Looks very, very, very similar. And I think we were probably dealing with like a 71, 72 overall, which is pretty good. Mike Wesley probably a little bit higher than that. I might just go straight linebackers. Von Hayward, are you worth taking here? Elite speed at middle linebacker. Block shedding is a bit of a concern. Only 21 years old. Seems pretty well-rounded. Yeah, I think I've talked myself into it. Von Hayward, 91 speed, 90 acceleration, hidden dev. 6 foot 246. He's built like a freaking freight train, like a Mack truck. And only 21 years old is quite good. Definitely our best pick of the draft so far because we didn't trade up a ton to do it. And we got a high potential player. Simulating to round 2, man, I hope these players are still on the board. And a few of them are. And we might be trading up in this round as well. We might be very active. So Wesley probably is my pick here. And then I'll probably debate either Nick Young or Max Foster. I know linebacker, we signed Leighton Vander Esch. But with Micah probably moving down to defensive end to replace DeMarcus Lawrence, we're going to need linebackers pretty badly. Mike Wesley looks really good. Round 1 to 2 talent, we know for a fact. He's probably going to be like a 73 to maybe 75 overall at the top end, but probably 72, 73, 74. And he is a Dallas Cowboy. Only normal development as well. Is a good athlete. Is only 21 years old. Is from Texas Tech, keeping him somewhat local. Although the drive from Lubbock to Arlington is not close. But good player. But just getting normal development is lame. A little bit disappointing. Nick Young is available. Do I value him over Max Foster? Max Foster is interesting. Another Texas guy, Texas A&M. A block shed, C finesse moves, B power moves is good. He's not a good athlete, though. I was kind of envisioning him as a defensive tackle. I think he's going to be pretty good, though. I really do. I think he's going to be okay, for sure. My only thing is I think I would rather to take another linebacker over him, and then we can make a decision. Because Nick Young looks good. And that's my big thing here. He looks really, really good. Not the craziest athlete, but is good. A hit power, A play rec, A pursuit, A tackle. So much A going on. We're going to take him. Nick Young, hidden dev, 85 speed, 88 acceleration is quite good. Better athlete than I anticipated, to be honest, but he does have great speed. Should be a really good player. I probably would expect him to be a starter. Now the question is, do I trade back up for that hybrid defensive tackle that's, of course, listed at defensive end in Max Foster? Definitely a chance of that. But I also wanted the other linebacker down the board too, which I know seems like linebacker overkill, but he just looks really good. He has D block shedding, which is bad, but A pursuit, B tackle, A zone coverage, elite speed for the position, B hit power, B man coverage, A awareness. I just think he looks quite good as well. What do we do here? I think we probably have to trade up. Max Foster is the next pick, so We were never going to get him. So really the only value left on the board for me that could be a potential starter right away, and Roman Graves I do like, but it's Tyler Underwood. Roman Graves, I think I do want to get him. But we're going to go ahead and trade up in round 3 in order to ensure that we do get him. I'm not sure how valuable these first picks of the 3rd round are. I'm not sure how they're valued by the computer here. So I think I should be able to wait a little bit. You know, in fact, the player I want might be available at our pick. I just really don't want to risk it. So after this, we have a 4th, which that's probably where I'll take the receiver. We have 5th. Probably we'll take the kicker in the 6th round. So maybe I'll trade a 3 and a 5 to move up here. 3, a 5, and a 7 it is. If I have to trade a 6th, I'll do it. And it's going to be the 6th round pick on the move back to New England. So we're moving up from 90 to 75. You guys saw the value going back to the Patriots as well. And we'll go ahead and take our player here. I know it seems like linebacker overkill. Don't know how good all of them are going to be. So we're going to take a number of different swings here and see if we can connect, hit a home run on one of them. Tyler Underwood, if you guys saw the Giants franchise offseason, he looks like the linebacker we drafted, Akil Edmonds from UCF. So we'll take him. 88 speed, 89 acceleration, 88 agility, all very, very good. However, once again, only normal development. Disappointing. Disappointing for sure. In round 4, I'm going to take the receiver, Roman Graves. His key ratings are good. He's not a terrible athlete. Not amazing, but not terrible. A spectacular catch. I think he's going to fill the role of the possession style, big-bodied receiver on my team. Also, obviously going to be normal dev, but I think the player should be pretty good. I would expect high 60s, maybe even up to a 70 overall. And then I'll finish my draft by drafting the kicker that we so desperately need, Jeremy Wentz out of Oklahoma. B, kick accuracy, A, awareness, and elite kick power should mean that he is unbelievable. Only normal development, but does have 96 kick power, and you'd have to expect probably mid to high 70s for accuracy as well, which is pretty awesome. And that's our draft. Let's see how we did. I thought we drafted pretty good players, but unfortunately it didn't translate to dev trades. And I mean, we did. We did get good players. 78 overall for Andrew Alexander is really good. 73 for Von Hayward. 73 for Mike Wesley. 73 for Nick Young. 73 for Tyler Underwood. I'll start the higher dev trade guys. And then the kickers is 75 overall as well. Just unfortunately, they all have normal development basically. Not all of them, obviously. We drafted a couple hidden dev guys, but a lot of them, unfortunately, are normal dev. Darrell Douglas is going to be a superstar X-Factor tight end for sure. 81 overall is pretty unreal. 87 speed, 88 catching, 91 excel, 86 spectacular catch. Short route running's really high already, as is deep route running. Medium route running is not even low for a tight end either, with catch and traffic above 80. He's got every trait you could want. This is a superstar X Factor because I think this is a generational tight end. Yeah, I think it is. You just don't really see tight ends at or near 80 overall or above. It's super insane to see. Josh Moyer out to Seattle, not to be confused with the former Seattle pitcher, Jamie Moyer. Man, he gave up a lot of home runs. Seattle with a really good draft, it seems, but when you look at our draft, we drafted a top 5 player, obviously in Andrew Alexander, and then after that, like, I think it was a pretty good draft. There's the kicker. It was just, the dev traits didn't really come in, which is, unfortunate. Moses Hale's pretty good too. Didn't really get a chance to take him. Trey Elias, by the way, the middle linebacker I missed out on, is a 73 overall, 90 speed. Did we do better with our linebacker? I think they're probably about tied. It depends on a dev trait and all that. He only has star, which is good, but it's not, amazing. And our middle linebacker we drafted, Von Hayward, he has hidden. Very similar. Very similar. Also, our cap space situation is not in a good spot. I think trading DeMarcus Lawrence was actually paramount to our success. Might be taking a slight cap penalty by doing that. But yeah, I think we had to try and get his contract off the books. So of course I am going to start the star dev players, or assuming they are star dev. Could obviously be a little bit higher. Leighton Vander Esch, since I signed him to an extension, I guess I could move him over to outside linebacker. Although, yeah, let's do that actually, because Hayward's a scheme fit. Let's move Leighton Vander Esch over to left outside linebacker. Don't know if he's going to be a scheme fit there. Honestly, don't really care. More worried about the younger players that are going to develop. But I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot. Micah Parsons has been moved down to left end where he is a scheme fit for us. And of course, he'll be a rush player for us. Why does Wesley keep defaulting to the starter position? Does he have day one starter? Wow. Okay, well, that's not going to happen. He's not going to start purely on the basis of not having the dev trait that we get with Swaggy P. Nick Young. Doesn't quite look like the Nick Young in the NFL. He also has day one starter. All right, whatever. Now, of course, we do have backup linebackers in here. We drafted them. They are fairly good, and they're just backups right now. Kind of the risk you run when you take multiple guys like that. But the thing is, we didn't know who was going to have star dev and who wasn't. It turns out, we go 2 for 2, 2 and 2, I should say. 2 star dev, 2 normal dev. Again, they could have higher, but probably star. And we could potentially trade one of them. We could potentially trade Leighton Vander Esch. We could keep them. Still need a defensive tackle. Maybe. But definitely need another edge rusher for sure. Ended up going with the corner over DeMarcus Lawrence. And I don't know. It kind of remains to be seen whether that was the right move or not. I think the team looks better. Obviously, time will tell. But we shall see. Also, by the way, CeeDee Lamb now has Superstar X Factor. He should progress at an extremely quick rate. And I'm also noticing we have next to no depth at running back. So I'm going to sign somebody. And then defensively, you're going to put Young back in the starting position. Sam Williams will start as well. Alexander will start. Deshaun Elliott will start. And maybe I trade J-Ron Curse. Maybe I just keep him for now. I don't know. Ooh, Darrell Henderson's here. That's a pretty easy Tony Pollard replacement. He's not Tony Pollard, but he is similar here. Could we even sign Ramondre Stevenson off the Patriots practice squad? Oh, that's crazy that's where he is. Okay, I actually made an executive decision, and I'm going to be starting somebody else at outside linebacker over Nick Young. I know, devastating. The reason I'm doing so is because Underwood is a 73 overall sub linebacker, which is the highest overall that I can actually do of all those rookies, even higher than Von Hayward. And I think, regardless of whatever Young's development trait is, that I don't think he's going to lose it after this season. But the odds of getting the dev trait up, it's kind of now or never for somebody like Tyler Underwood here. And I think we could have a really good chance to get him Defensive Rookie of the Year and then move up to star development. So I'm taking a bit of a chance here, going with that. Still some holes on the team, but linebacker is a position I'm extremely comfortable with right now. Changes can and probably will be made, but we're going to go ahead and go to the midseason mark and see how we're doing. 5-1 midseason mark, that is good. Breakout DB, please be the rookie. It is Andrew Alexander. I think there's a chance he can definitely get this. It's just one thing. If we can just have one thing go right, we're going to be in a good position to get him upgraded. So I'm pretty happy about that. Probably going to not hold the Giants to under 200 yards total or passing or whatever it was. Still don't know Nick Young's dev trait. We'll upgrade pass coverage, make him a little bit more well-rounded. I'm wondering actually how he's played so many snaps up to this point. He shouldn't be starting, but I wouldn't put it above the CPU to make a change for me without my asking. Happens often enough, even though I said it week 2 of the regular season. So, we'll see what goes on with that. And he's not, so that's fine. Don't know the dev trait of Hayward yet. Or, of course, Young. Hayward's got to be close. Yeah, a couple weeks away maybe. Strengths of this class, quarterback, left tackle, and wide receiver. Not really good for me. Don't really need any of those positions with the exception of maybe quarterback. We have an efficiency boost for OT and outside linebacker. I got to change that scout because I definitely not going to need to draft linebacker at this point. I'm going to set it to receiver anyway. We're going to lose out on points, but it's okay. Okay, there's so many quarterbacks. At number 1, out of Bama. Number 3 out of TCU. Number 6 out of Dayton. Number 7 out of Delaware. And we'll see who we have to bring back. It's Tyron Smith. Absolutely have to. CeeDee Lamb. Have to. Trayvon Diggs. Have to. Dalton Schultz. Would really like to. And then J-Ron Curse should be traded this week. Malik Hooker, I mean, we're going to lose all of our safeties, except for Deshaun Elliott, of course. Neville Gallimore got to bring back. Tyler Biotish probably need to bring back as well. A lot of important free agents. We have the money to do it. Tyron Smith is going to be the big one. He's going to be extremely expensive. I would give him a 4-year deal. I'd like to take the money down a little bit, and he doesn't like it. CeeDee Lamb is back, though. Took the money down just a bit, gave him an extra year. Probably going to do the same with Trayvon Diggs. I'd like to bring it all the way down, and he is returning. That's actually probably the best value we've had the entire video with 3 signings. They haven't really been very, very nice to me. And then Dalton Schultz, I'd like to pay him less. Nice. All right. He accepted less than he declined last year. I am trading J-Ron Curse a 3rd next year and a 4th this year to move up with the Lions, their 2nd-round pick. Projected to be pretty high, so we hope the Lions continue to lose. Might end up with a 1st-round pick at some point, but gonna keep the team we have right now. Advance to the playoffs. Should be a playoff team. I'd be shocked if we didn't win about 12 games. So we'll move on to the playoffs and hopefully have a big-time playoff run. Yep, exactly 12 wins. And if we took Moses, it would have been good for this as we're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jared Blanton, some rookie quarterback, set the league on fire. Dak with quite a good year, except for the 18 interceptions. Would like for that to be down quite a bit. Also, Zeke stepped up. He had more yards, more touchdowns, more yards per carry. I think more attempts as well. CeeDee Lamb still great, just didn't convert in the end zone quite as much as Jalen Tolbert, who had 12 touchdowns. Unreal year for him. Probably expect to see him go up to star development. Michael Gallup was awesome. Dalton Schultz still contributing. A lot of great numbers here. Von Hayward had 120 tackles. Tyler Underwood with over 100, as did Andrew Alexander and Trayvon Diggs right at that century mark. Micah Parsons, this is what I'm talking about. This is why we moved him down to defensive end. 16 tackles for loss, 18.5 sacks. Osa Odigizua, great year. 16 TFLs, 9 for loss. Neville Gallimore, 15 TFLs, 11.5 sacks. If I said, did I screw up saying it for Osa Odigizua? I may have. I might have said TFLs and then 9 tackles for loss instead of sacks. That's all good. 5.5 sacks for Dorrance Armstrong, 3.5 for Sam Williams. We got to upgrade on the edge. And then 3 picks from the rookie Von Hayward led our team. We had the rookie Andrew Alexander as well with 2. Nobody else from the rookie class with 1. All right, let's see if we can beat the Bucs. It is only wild card week, although we'll probably lose and head to an early offseason. Oh, it's another field goal win. And of course, we have to play the Carolina Panthers, who are usually a juggernaut-style team in simulation. They are incredible. Their offensive playbook is amazing, and I guess their defensive playbook is good enough. But another win as we face the 12-5. Hold on, I'm just seeing the standings in the bottom right. What? The Cowboys with 12 wins. The Commanders with 12 wins. The Giants with 11 wins. And the Eagles with 11 wins. I don't think that's... Well, I know for a fact that order has never happened. But I don't know if we've ever seen a division with 4 teams with double-digit wins, period. I don't even know if we've seen a division where every team finishes above 500. That is incredible. We may have on the last one, although it seems a little unlikely. Definitely possible at the very least. And time for dev traits. Defensively, star dev for Hayward was to be expected. Young we don't know about just yet, but that's okay. Very close to being revealed. He's definitely good. I could have started him. I'm sure some of you are disappointed I did not start him. But the chance to get Underwood up to star dev and then maybe Young has superstar anyway, it would give us a little bit more flexibility. So I took the chance, and I mean, either way, I think it's going to work out for us. Here we are. It is conference championship week. We're playing a division rival. On paper, they are worse than us, although not significantly worse. They're, an 85 overall. It said to our 87. So this could go either way. They managed to keep Terry McLaurin. They managed to keep their core together. We do have home field advantage somehow. But I guess we had the tiebreaker, but we won the series with them maybe 2-0 in regular season action. So could this be our 3rd win against the Commanders of the season? Out to an early lead here in the first quarter, 7-3 Commanders striking back and taking the lead. Looking to extend it, but not quite. We take the lead right back. 14 now, 21-10 in the second half. Commanders with a field goal, making it 21-13, but another score by the Cowboys and a quick fire back by the Commanders. It is 28-20. Commanders from the 11-yard line, just under 40 seconds to play. Commanders need a first down here on third down, and Trayvon Diggs is beat. Jahan Dotson, good route, tough to cover, and that is a Commanders touchdown, and they will need the 2-point conversion. Porter is their quarterback. Yes, they drafted him. And without this 2-point conversion, the game is over. The quarterback's taking off, firing back crossbody, and it's picked off by Elliott. Why are you taking it out? Deshaun Elliott, interception. Won't show on the stat sheet, but will show as we win this game. 28-26 is your final. Deshaun Elliott, wearing number 10, by the way, is bizarre. As John Porter for 350 and 3 touchdowns. Wasn't enough to win. The Cowboys, as much as I hate to say this, are headed to the Super Bowl. Odigizua here with a boost. He'll go up to a 78 overall, at least temporarily. Want to make him more well-balanced. And the combination of strength, block shed, and tackle going up is really, really nice for him. I could see him being a starter on this team. I like the player a lot in real life, but he could end up being an actual starting defensive tackle for the length of this rebuild in simulation as well. We should know our dev traits by Super Bowl week. Jalen Tolbert, star dev. I think it changes at Super Bowl week. We'll do playmaker for now. He goes up to a 77 overall. Boost is giving him an 80 overall temporarily. 77 deep threat archetype. And we'll see what we can do. It's Super Bowl time against the Cincinnati Bengals. We are an 87 overall. The offense is carrying that a little bit with a 92 compared to an 83 defense. Bengals, just like in real life last year, snuck into the playoffs and then made it all the way to the Super Bowl. They're a very good team, though, but we have a lot of upgrades. Did we get up to star dev for Tyler Underwood? We did. It was worth it. Don't know why he got it, just, I guess, because he was a starter, played well. That's big. Gives us a little bit more flexibility depending on what's going on with Nick Young. Von Hayward, with 2 skill points, did he win Defensive Rookie of the Year? And we see ability, so he surely has superstar dev. He got it, though, did win Defensive Rookie of the Year, so he had star dev to start. But yeah, seeing superstar dev for a 21-year-old linebacker, pretty awesome. We'll do pass coverage for him. He also has the big hitter, swim move, and high motor traits. Yeah, this would be a sick linebacker to play with. The only thing you could say about why he's not amazing, even though he is very, 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 very good, is because he's a little bit undersized in terms of height at 6 foot. Maybe some throws could go over him where the extra inch or two, which does matter, would be, maybe the football going the other way. But still, not really that big of a problem. He is still a beast. CeeDee Lamb, going to do playmaker again. Playmaker just upgrades so many different things. Like +4 medium and +3 short route running. That's disgusting. And Nick Young, by the way, he does have superstar dev. Wow. All right, well, he's going to start next season. And now, obviously, it's a little bit annoying to see, oh, man, he had superstar dev the entire time and was on the bench. I don't really see it that way because we got Underwood up to star dev, which he normally wouldn't have been. Neville Gallimore, by the way, is up to superstar dev, which is big. And Alexander is up to star dev. Okay, not bad. In the offseason, we'll need to upgrade corner, defensive end. But linebacker here, Leighton Vander Esch could be traded, potentially. Or we could trade somebody else. Although Vander Esch seems like a pretty good candidate. Although I don't really want to like split up that much of the team. What we might do is just play best of both worlds, which is Underwood at sub linebacker because of the cover skills and Nick Young starting at outside linebacker because he should be a little bit better in that role, or at least you'd think so. And then we'll just go like linebacker by committee, which actually sounds pretty good. But at the same time, if I can use one of those linebackers in order to get an upgrade elsewhere, whether it's at safety, whether it's at corner, whether it's at defensive end, maybe even defensive tackle, like I might have to take that opportunity. Man, Cowboys uniforms look so good. That's the one thing I'll always give them credit for. I don't love the light blue pants that don't match the other blue on their uniform, and I've heard that criticism a lot. I know the meaning behind it, but it looks okay enough. Their helmets are awesome. Jerseys, the all-whites that they use like everywhere, are still very, very good. I don't like the Cowboys as a team, but obviously I do like some players. I think I put the sport ahead of my team biases. So yeah, Cowboys uniforms are awesome. I'll give them credit for that, as this is a very close game here. Bengals actually take the lead and extend the lead by 10 and then extend it even more. And we don't even have the football. Out of nowhere. It's going to be 41-21. And then a punt? Oh, it's a penalty. Dude. How did we blow this so royally? Didn't really even have a chance to jump in, because before you knew it, the game's out of reach. CeeDee Lamb touchdown, but it might be too little too late. And that is your ball game. Bengals win the Super Bowl. If you're new to the channel, yeah, dude, I am not a Bengals fan. I like the Giants. For the people who are not new here, like, ow, at least your favorite team won the Super Bowl. That is a good one. Yeah, very original, very hilarious as always. And we'll advance to the offseason. I don't know. The Bengals, it was like blitzkrieg, dude. They just freaking rushed us, came out of nowhere. It was a 20-point game. Andrew Alexander's starting to look like a better pick, though. +1 man speed, end zone here. 94 speed, pretty quick. Coverage is getting better. Yeah, this doesn't look like a bad pick now that he is star dev. So, obviously, it's L plus ratio, whatever you guys say, in the moment. But that was cringe, by the way. That's another thing you guys like to say. I don't know. Am I just going to come at the comment section for no reason before it even exists? I might. Maybe I should have traded Jordan Lewis, but that's kind of a big starter to trade away. He was playing as our third corner, even though we had Andrew Alexander in the nickel, although Jordan Lewis probably should have been there. Neville Gallimore absolutely has to be re-signed at this point, although he is 27, but yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and re-sign him. And then Tyron Smith, I'll just give him a medium risk contract. I'd like it to be 3 years. It is a lot of money, but he's still great. And Tyron Smith returns. And I think the last guy I'm going to go ahead and sign is going to be Neville Gallimore. With signing Darrell Henderson in free agency the way we did after the free agent period, like, it proves that we don't really need to re-sign him because we can just do better for cheaper. Biotish, I'll probably bring him back. Tristan Wirfs is here in free agency with only one team interested. Here's the thing. We can't do it. We have the money to, but we have Mike McGlinchey. The guy I'm more focused on, I would say, well, Antoine Winfield Jr. would be nice too, but I would say Jeffrey Simmons. Play him at defensive tackle. Antoine Winfield Jr. is just an instant starter. He's from the Woodlands too, so it's just close to home, Texas, from Houston area. Could bring him in. Jordan Brooks is here. Don't need him, obviously. DJ Reader would be okay. Jeremy Chin would be interesting. Isn't super interested. Derek Brown is up to Superstar X Factor. That's actually an option. And he's really not that expensive in comparison. Jalen Johnson's here. We just don't have the money I want. I want, like, every player in there. It happens to be so many different players at positions of need. And receiver is fine. Zeke is back up to Superstar X Factor. I think the line is fine. I think the line's good, actually, better than fine. Defensively, do I need defensive tackle? That's kind of the thing, right? Do I need defensive tackle? Not really. I do need free safety. It's going to be Antoine Winfield Jr. Also offering Jalen Johnson a contract. A little bit of a low ball. However, if we can get him, we can get him, right? So 2 potential upgrades to the secondary, and they've both evaluated offers, and they've both signed on with our team. So that is huge. Running a little bit low on funds after that move. Just over $11 million in available salary cap. I'd love for that to roll over, so I'm not going to touch it. Not going to touch it. And this might be a better year not to have a first-round pick, because we don't have to pay a first-round pick. That's a big thing. Is it scales up significantly depending on how high the pick is. So maybe not having a first-round pick is better because we're not associated with having to pay all that money. Ooh, This looks like a very good tackle, or at least a potential to be. A to C pass block. Elite strength as well. Oh my. We could have a very special player in Tory Mann here. A to C block shedding. A to C finesse moves with elite speed jumping. Outside linebacker, but he'd be a rush player for us. So I'm thinking that's my main target. So, you know, I think to the layman, it's actually going to be pretty funny here that I am going to be using my focus points or my focus players for the private workouts on linebackers, but they aren't just they're edge rushers. Like someone that's 6'6", 266, like one of the outside linebackers you just looked at, he's not going to be playing linebacker for me. He's going to be playing defensive end, and depending on how some of these players look post focus or post private workout, that's going to depend, and the Lions have the number 1 overall pick. That's going to depend on whether we move up for one of those guys or not, because I'm not just going to stay put and wait for one of those players to go off the board if that is the franchise game changer that takes us over the top. So I will trade my future for Tory Mann if I see fit. Awful zone coverage. Does he have A finesse moves? We don't know for a fact, but it looks pretty good. D power moves is a bit like he's not like amazingly well-rounded, but still very good. Now, here's the deal. Brian Gaines looks awesome as well. A awareness, A play rec, A power moves, A hit power, A pursuit, B tackle. Coverage doesn't matter. Here is why I would lean towards the other player. He's a bit worse of an athlete. Not awful, but just not an amazing athlete. Very good technician, could be a really good player. But Tory Mann is the elite athlete of the bunch. And then Jeremy Byers is kind of the in-the-middle guy with A finesse moves. It's very, very tough. Byers will be off the board, which basically leaves me in between Tory Mann and Brian Gaines in round 1 if I want to move up. Desmond Allen also looks very good. Really can't go wrong here, I don't think. Byers will go top 5. Can't get him. Brian Gaines will likely go top 10, which leaves Tory Mann maybe around 11 or 12 if we want to move up. So let's see how this goes, and then that'll determine when and if I move up. And the if is most likely like, yes, we're definitely going to move up. Byers is off the board. I'd love for the other backer to stay on the board. Gives us a little bit of flexibility when we move up for Tory, if we do. There goes Brian Gaines at 8. I'm not going to risk it anymore. I'm going to trade with the Texans. Gaines went at 8. This is our best bet. Might be the best player anyway. And I would swap my first to get it done, I think, next year. And I'd give them a second as well. And that's not going to get it done. What about a third? Giving up a lot here. That doesn't get it done. That's really the best offer I can do. A first next year, a second next year, and a second this year. I mean, I guess I could get it done. I would have to change the second round pick that I give up, which, all right. I'll give them 33. And actually now, I could just make this maybe a 5th, maybe a 4th next year. Might have to be a 3rd. And that still didn't get it done. What ends up getting it done is a 1st and a 2nd next year, number 33 this year, and we get number 11. I think it was worth it. I wanted to keep that other high 2nd round pick because depending on how this player that we take here looks, Desmond Allen could be a very, very good option. And I might still end up trading up for him. Looks really good. And he might be someone we move back up for depending on if he stays and lasts until the 2nd round. Not going to trade back up into the 1st for him. I'm going to take Tory Mann. Block shedding's pretty good. Pursuit's great. Tackling, I think, is good enough. And with elite athleticism overall, should be pretty good. I'm gambling on A finesse moves here, but B wouldn't be terrible. Tory Mann is the pick. He does have hidden dev. 86 speed, 82 strength, 89 acceleration's fantastic. He's going to start at defensive end. I think he should be pretty good. To be fair, though, Desmond Allen is 32 picks down the board. So I think there's a chance he makes it to the top of round 1. And now, keep in mind, while it says I pick at the top of round 2, that isn't true. So Would have to move up if I want to take that player. Round 2, round 3, and round 6 picks going back to Minnesota in exchange for number 36. I just think it's more valuable to have the player than those picks at this point. So we're going to go ahead and grab Desmond Allen out of Vandy. What, do I keep saying Allen? Why do I keep saying that? Desmond Allen out of Vandy. 6'5", 266. Normal dev. All right. Good backup to have. But that is why we take 2 of them. Although, of course, the order, we took the star dev player first. Draft recap. 74 overall for Tory Man, 73 for Desmond Allen. CPU draft wasn't too great down the board. Let's see if we missed out on anything great. Interesting. 3rd round defensive tackle, 78 overall, best in the draft. 2nd round receiver is the 2nd best player, tied with a 3rd round running back. Very interesting. Now, I'm more interested in the, this is a run stopper. That's a run stopper outside linebacker. I'm more interested in the defensive ends we passed on or didn't trade up for, is a better way to phrase it. So, Jeremy Byers is a 75 overall. Does have hidden dev. Looks great. Only star dev, though. Gaines is a 74 overall. He looks also very good, but just not quite the athlete. Although 81 speed at defensive end, I think is completely fine. So maybe it's not too big of a deal. He also only has star dev. That's boding well for our outside linebacker. Now, I hope his overall goes up at defensive end, but if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. He's going to play. He's going to start. He's going to be very good, I hope. Tory Man, though, looks pretty awesome. Tackling's just a bit low. I think that's impacting his overall. But 86 speed, 89 acceleration, playing up to 83 pursuit, 81 finesse moves with 82 strength, 76 block shed. That looks very, very good. I think his overall will at least stay the same. But again, doesn't really matter. 42 is kind of lame. Let's give him Lawrence Taylor's 56. Go Giants. He actually went up to a 75 and then 76 with morale. Very nice. Defense looks a lot better now. Antoine Winfield Jr., we have Jalen Johnson, and Andrew Alexander will be our 3rd corner. But that's good. We have 3 great corners. I know we traded all the way up for him, but this is his best case scenario right now. The defensive tackles look good enough. The ends obviously look phenomenal. And then I'm gonna start Nick Young at outside linebacker, but the sub linebackers are going to be Van Der Esch and Hayward, and then Underwood underneath. We have good depth. It's a good problem to have. And yeah, we'll keep Alexander in the slot. Maybe CD Lamb in the slot. Maybe Tolbert. Maybe Michael Gallup. I don't know. I'll decide on that later. 4-2 at the midseason mark is not, I mean, it's a little disappointing, right? I feel it's disappointing just based on how we've been doing the previous seasons, but it's still a good record. Micah Parsons, Zach Martin, Dak. Wow, okay. These are some big free agents. We have 91 mil to bring 3 to 4 players back if we want Osa Odigizua, which I do, but he is not the priority right now. Priority is Micah Parsons. It might, and Dak as well, but Dak's pretty expensive. Would love to take this money down just a little bit. Give me a little bit of wiggle room. This team not being a fit for me. You have max interest in the team, basically. It's almost all the way. Dak is back, though. A lot of money, but he returns. Zach Martin on a 2-year deal. I'd love to take the money down just a little bit. He's back, and then bring the money down just a bit on Osa Odigizua. He returns as well. Micah Parsons will get at some point, for sure. But we're good for now on the rest. Not often you see an 11-win first-round bye in Madden Sim, but that's exactly what happened. Stats seem bugged on the side there, but Dak took a big step back in terms of production, which is, I guess he got that contract and then stopped trying. Zeke, though, took over 1,700 yards, over 5 per carry, 26 touchdowns receiving. CeeDee Lamb still very good, as was Jalen Tolbert. Michael Gallup, very productive. Dalton Schultz did quite well. Zeke with an Offensive Player of the Year caliber season. I wonder if he actually ends up winning it. Von Hayward and Leighton Van Der Esch had a ton of tackles. 18 for loss for Micah Parsons. Osa Odigizua with 15, 12 for Gallimore. Quarterback sacks. Wow, 15.5 for Parsons. Where is Tory Man? Is he just not playing? Has star dev, by the way. A little bit disappointing. But I don't know what's going on. Was he taken out? Surely you're going to produce more Then what, 2.5 sacks? 2.5. How many snaps did he play? Played over 1,000. I don't know. Just was incredibly unproductive. The Giants in the divisional, this is like exactly the classic round one you'd lose, but we don't. I keep saying it. Maybe it's good. I'm reverse jinxing it, which is nice. Andrew Alexander should go up. Another overall point as well. I'll do slot. He goes up to an 84 overall temporarily. Plus 4 awareness is why. That awareness stat, who knows what it does, but it boosts overall, I'll tell you that much. And for the Vikings, do we jump in? I think we do. It's 2024. About time we win a Super Bowl, right? Pretty close game so far. Pretty close indeed. It is 27 now, 28-17, 28-20 in favor of the Cowboys, but the Vikings are not giving up without a fight. It is a touchdown game, and the Vikings have tied it 35 apiece, and it's 2 minutes for the Cowboys. 3rd and 15. How do we get into this situation, man? Need to convert, and we're going to go for CeeDee Lamb. Sideline! Got the toes down. That is a first down. Big first down as well on 3rd and long. Put me in a really tough spot, but thankfully we were able to convert. Minute and a half on the clock. Just have to get into field goal range. And we're going to scramble up the middle with Dak Prescott. He got tackled first time. Now, in Giants franchise, Dak breaks about every tackle. Also, notice what the Vikings are doing. This is basically brain dead. I would call this brain dead to go into quarters coverage, especially 3 deep, given our situation. Because we don't have to, and there were other options on that play as well. I kind of threw it into tighter coverage. But we don't have to score a touchdown. They don't need to protect the end zone. They don't need to protect the end zone at all. Like, a field goal for us wins the game. And I'm not sure if the Vikings are aware of that, because they just gave us a ton of yards to get into field goal position. Our field goal range is Zeke running pretty hard, pretty strong. And finally, timeout number 1 by the Vikings comes in. So the Vikings haven't called their final timeout yet. They're waiting to ice us, and we might not let them get that opportunity. So we're going to get iced here, assuredly. However, with 5 seconds left and 2 timeouts, I might try to line this up and go like double QB sneak. Want to line this up. Dak Prescott falls forward. We'll call a timeout. We'll do it again here. Call a timeout. Yeah, cutting it close, but that's just... It's just doing it perfectly. And we're iced anyway. Which makes no sense because 2 plays have happened since the timeout. So that makes no sense to me. Whatever. We're going to go ahead and kick it right down the middle regardless. And that is a Super Bowl berth for the Cowboys in back-to-back seasons. Super Bowl will be against the Indianapolis Colts. They're an 86 overall. They actually outperformed us in the regular season. I'm going to give Wentz the accuracy boost here. Kick power, like, why? It's already 96. He's hitting from pretty much anywhere. Nick Young will boost pass coverage, make him a more well-rounded player. Right now, he's pretty much all run stop. And we'll check in with the team for what could be the final time. Offensive line still looks very good. And then defensively, ooh, Von Hayward, as a 22-year-old, is up to superstar X Factor. I don't really think that Selfless is going to do too much. I mean, I guess we could get Micah Parsons in the zone. Yeah, maybe I will do Selfless. But also, Antoine Winfield Jr. up to superstar dev. Andrew Alexander up to superstar dev. And all we need to get Micah Parsons in the zone is make a hit stick tackle. So that's pretty good. And let's go ahead and head to the Super Bowl, see if we can get one here with the Cowboys. Cowboys, Colts, big-time game. Hopefully a big-time result. 91 overall to their 86. Let's get it done. Wasn't off to the best start. Colts scored 7 on the first drive of the game. But since then, it's been all Dallas. And as I say that, of course, they're right back in the game. It is 35-23, 42-23. And Marcus Mariota, by the way, is the quarterback for the Colts here. We'll jump in, play a sequence maybe. 3rd and 5. Game not on the line here for the Colts, but they really need a score, as that is off the cowboy collar, the neck roll of Leighton Vander Esch. And now the game is on the line. They're down 42-23 without a first down here. The game is surely over, and they get the first down. Got caught out of position there. I didn't even realize I was on Leighton Vander Esch until it was too late. I would say Hayward's probably my favorite draft pick of this so far. Pretty sick to have a superstar X-Factor linebacker at 22 years old. Big hitter trait as well. Like to actually get the opportunity to use that. He looks pretty little out here. He doesn't really look like 245 pounds or whatever he is, just because he's so small. I mean, just a shade over 5. He might even be 5'11", round up for the Tinder bio, I don't know. 3rd and 2, just over 2 minutes to play. And it's going to be a big hit by Leighton Vander Esch, and it's recovered by Deshaun Elliott. And that will do it. Not arcade mode. I do play the rebuilds on all pro instead of all Madden like I do for the franchise. Sim mode, as you can see in the top right above me. And yeah, that's just a forced fumble. It just happens. Why are they not falling for play action? We could run the clock out and win the Super Bowl. All right, sick throw by Dak. Him being up to superstar X Factor in, what is he, mid to high 90s now? That's pretty sweet. I'd love to get a big play going. I don't know why they wouldn't fall for play action when this is the most obvious run situation of all time, but the linebackers back up instantly. Down the field, CeeDee Lamb, it's going to be underthrown. Out of range touch pass, but if we just stayed in the pocket and made that throw, maybe a touchdown. I'd try to hit that. I think we should be out. Nope, never mind. It's severely underthrown as we're throwing out of a sack. Guess what? An interception at this point. Yeah, return it. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Zeke might actually track this down. Nope, he won't, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And you know why it doesn't matter? Because the Super Bowl is over. 42-30 is your final. We got the Dallas Cowboys a Super Bowl victory. Their first Lombardi trophy since the 1990s. Obviously, we're very successful in the 90s under Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen on those teams as well. I feel like kind of the big players on those teams. I mean, Dion might have even been their first Super Bowl as well. Am I missing any, like, superstar? I mean, I'm probably missing a couple. The 90s were a little bit before my time for football fandom, as I was born in the 90s, so tough to really be a huge fan at that time. But yeah, that is the Super Bowl, and that is going to be the video. This was a fun one, despite, me not liking the Cowboys and struggling to speak at times in this video as well. I think it was a good one. I think it was a fun one. Got some good draft picks, made some big signings. And overall, I don't think we did anything too crazy, just built off of what was there. On the offensive line, just brought in Mike McGlinchey. The rest was already in place. Didn't really talk too much about first-round pick out of 2022, Tyler Smith, but he's there. Didn't change any of the receivers. Didn't change the quarterback or the running back, of course. Just lost Tony Pollard. And then defensively is where most of the work needed to be done. Completely revamped the linebacking core. Kept Leighton Vander Esch, though. Brought in Antoine Winfield Jr. and Deshaun Elliott. Trayvon Diggs, of course, stuck around, but brought in a really good now corner, Jalen Johnson as well with Andrew Alexander, and then upgraded the defensive line with Mann going forward for the future. Neville Gallimore got big boosts, as did Osa Odigizua, and then Micah Parsons did Micah Parsons things, absolutely dominated on the defensive line once we moved him down. Really, really fun player, and as a Giants fan, not happy the Giants have to play him twice a year. So that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you subscribed. If you're not already, make sure. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.